Hey people, it's me again. So, anyways, um, I haven't really been talking a whole lot about my manifestation journey when it comes to um, one of my current SPs of mine, that I refer to as like J2 for that matter. And even though it's been almost 2 years since the whole drama had happened, but it was like, I knew that was going to happen and all of that, but it was more like me kind of turning into this kid and behaving that sort of way just for the sake of turning into the skin because, you know, all I think I really wanted was to kind of put this guy on the back burner for a while, and then what I get, all this drama, you know, and so basically the reason why I'm talking about this now is just that there is like movement going on here as far as that goes there because how I was playing with VO3 the other day and it did like um, a clip of like Glee, it, but with teddy bears. And I remember um, J2 said that was his favorite show was Glee. And so basically because of that, then I would start to think about the different things about Glee, when it came to, you know, um, like some of the musical numbers, like Rose's Turn, where the character Kurt sings Rose's Turn, you know, and it was kind of like one of the latter seasons, and then somehow I was like forgetting the name of the teacher, and it was like Mr. Schuster, and so basically, even though I'm not supposed to check the 3D when it comes to my SP, that sort, but yet he had uploaded a video about like, you know, like there was some sort of hidden ending when it came to Glee if it hadn't been for what's his name, Corey Monteith passing away all of a sudden, you know, as far as that goes. And where one of the characters was talking to Mr. Schuster about like her aspirations beyond high school and all that, and it was like, you know, like a hypothetical flash forward, and that would be like the hypothetical ending of Glee if it hadn't been for that sort of thing there. But in a way, I would say it's like not just like Glee, but then what would what drew inspiration of Glee, Fame. I mean, anybody that remember Fame, you know, back in the '80s. I even watched a bit of like Fame back about um, 30 years ago because it was like it was on in like real late night around like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning at that point in time, and just like how they would also have like Perfect Strangers and any of these other old sitcoms from the '80s that were like still on syndication at that point. Yeah, so that was like one of the things there. Yeah, so I think that was like the case that as I said earlier about that, your specific person always conforms to your manifestations of that sort, and then like as I said before, number one proof when it came to that, it was like for that SP is his tattoos because I kept visualizing him having a pink tattoo on this part of his arm, and lo and behold, he ends up getting a pink tattoo on his arm. And then, of course, the star tattoos on this arm that he here, because his late husband had star tattoos on both of his arms there, and in a way, it was like, it's strange that happened, and I was manifesting that, and it wasn't like, I forced him to get those tattoos. He just simply got that on his own free will at that point, you know. But as I said before about it, I mean, it would be nice to have him as a as a boyfriend or something like that, but I want to I want to keep my options open as far as that goes, because after all, it's like that specific person of mine, he's gonna still be alive for another 20 to 50 years if he plays his cards right and quit smoking and all of that. And that was like the other thing that I was, you know, started to think about, like, oh, the the fact that he was smoking, and at one point where I was probably probably affirming for him to quit, you know, and he was starting to quit smoking, like buying like these type of cigarettes that have low nicotine, yada yada yada, like these menthol cigarettes or something like that. But it was like a way to kind of a way to, have like the thing there, because I even remember on one of those stories, like, where there were people were trying to, like, it was one of those psychologists that had a way of like getting people who smoked to quit, was like they would give them like sports bottles, because it would be a way of, holding the straw and like this, so they have something to do with their hands and all that. you know but the biggest problem when it comes to that, and then there's like this whole addiction transference, where someone who quits smoking and all that, and then it translates into like an eating disorder or gambling addiction or alcoholism and all that, and so it's just one of those things again. But I was like thinking about, like, you know when it came to like any of the other SPs, and I have a lot of choices when it came to that, because if I recall correctly, another person I was also manifesting was those guys, Dan and Dave, that I talked about earlier, and it was like the last time I saw Dan was like the things that he said to me, it was like I was parroting he was parroting everything that I said to one of my brothers, that maybe I wanted to live with Dan and Dave and all of that, or at least just something like that. And because I never really experienced what it's like to not live in the same house at that point there, because me being on the spectrum, it was like, you know, I had to have like someone that could handle my eccentricities and all that, and it was like the thing, as I said before about it, why I would do the whole crazy thing there, when it came to one of my exes at that point, was like, or that one guy I had talked about years ago. It was like, if he couldn't handle my crazy at that point, then what was the whole point of it, you know? Because after all, I had gone around and told him off, like, go ahead and tell the world I was crazy, and I would have told everyone else that he's just nothing more than a aspiring actor kind of thing. Best he can do in his life is be a middle school drama teacher, and that's just about it. and it was like, one of the things there that I had probably manifested without even realizing that I was manifesting it was the fact that I had said that, oh, he's jealous of Ricky, and lo and behold, he ends up becoming jealous of Ricky, and jealous to the point where he wanted to sabotage the relationship that I was having with Ricky. You know, even though he was already like in some place in New York, doing whatever he can do to get himself, at least a crack in the Broadway, but even if it's like with a bunch of offs in front of it, you know, as far as that goes. And um so basically that was just like the case there. So, and it's always been something like that that we're always manifesting things, and then all our thoughts create. But we also have to be careful about what our thoughts do. Yeah. So, anyways, I guess that's part of it. So, talk to you guys later.